they came to get it in. If you wanna hear it all, yeah, you in the right place. Going through the highs and lows at a pretty calm pace. This is where they talk to all elite, Dynamite and Rampage. All the other news on your timelines or your page. ShootingStarPRS like it's mad side down. MWO, and yeah, they here to hold it down. Had to kick a rhyme just to tell you about the show. From the TikToks or the shorts, they will bring the smoke. And yeah, it's the dudes like it's Sean and it's Diesel. Live on the Twitch, YouTube for the reviews. Show them all the love on the platform you using. 5-star rating now, there is no excuses. Welcome back or welcome for the first show. Two dudes with the attitudes, time to work, bro.
Hey, welcome back to another episode. You did it. Two Dudes with Attitudes, a wrestling podcast, an AEW edition. What's up, Two Dudes Wolfpack? As always, I am the dude of Wrestle Talk, Mr. MWO. And with me, as always, is the honorary dude, Mr. ShootingStarPRS. How's it going over there at midnight right now?
Just completed 3 hours of wrestling and an hour of trying to get this computer to work. So yeah, we're ready to rock and roll.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it. And speaking of rock and roll, let's go right into Saturday. Right? It's Collision time, baby. Let's get into some Collision. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it, man. All
right. And I wanted to start off with Collision. I want to talk about maybe the elephant in the room. I don't know, but I want to talk about unscripted promos. And if there's one thing I've heard about wrestlers who go from WWE to AEW, or old-time wrestlers in WWE who have been terminated or released, and they all criticize the fact that they have scripted promos. That, I'd go to WWE, I show up on a Thursday for SmackDown, and then they tell me what I'm going to say, and I have to memorize it in 10 minutes, and then I say it, and doesn't make sense, and blah, blah, blah. Well, I feel like unscripted or scripted promos work for the people that it needs to work for. And listening to Freddie Prinze Jr. on his podcast, he talks about all the time that he wrote scripts for people when he was a writer on SmackDown many moons ago, and that he didn't write it for everybody. Some people needed them, some people did it, but he wanted to write for the people that needed it to be written for. Not everyone can just go out and just speak on the cuff. And I think we learned that this week on Collision about how some people in AEW might not be able to really go unscripted. And it refreshed my memory, ShootingStarPRS. CM Punk, right? He was just terminated, correct? Or released, whatever, right? What led to all his releases and his anger? What was it? Do you remember? Was it unscripted promos?
It was unscripted promos.
It was,
Adam
right?
Page. Yeah.
It was, right? And more than that, because it went back and forth and people were saying things. It started with Adam Page and it led to even more. And so this week, supposedly, we have some drama going on again between Adam Copeland, Mr. Edge himself, and Ricky Starks. And they did a promo with a whole bunch of people, way too many people, which you'll cover. But basically, Adam Copeland got a little upset. To me, it seemed like he was butthurt. To me, actually, it was the first time I ever saw Edge where I was kind of like, dude, like, grow up. Like, you're acting like a child, where he basically was like, you're a rock wannabe and you're like a vanilla midget and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And basically made fun of him. And then Ricky Starks retorted with something about how, like, oh my gosh, you like had me on the edge or the edge of my seat, or what did he said something
that line set me over the edge.
Set me over the edge. And then Edge rolled his eyes and basically was like mocking the fact that he said that line too, like brought it down. And supposedly they now have some beef in the back, right? They can correct me if I'm wrong, correct? I haven't read it yet, but supposedly they have some issues now, correct?
Yeah, according to Meltzer and Alvarez. So take that for what it's worth. There's some backstage heat. They were like both legitimately mad at the other during that segment, and you could tell Edge was mad. You could tell 100%. Edge was thrown off. Ricky Starks didn't really seem all that bothered, but
no,
Edge really seemed affected by it, and he was fumbling his words, like you said, and so Yeah, it was not a good look, and Edge has only been in the company for 2 weeks now, and he's already
And
he's not doing what I was hoping he would do.
yeah, and not only that, but then we had Santana and Ortiz who have been beefing, and they used to be a tag team, and they had another backstage promo with Ortiz, and I think it was Ortiz, right? So Ortiz the short one or the big one? Who's the short one?
I think Santana's the
Santana.
big one.
The big one. That's what I thought. So Ortiz was running his mouth about, him being selfish and blah, 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 this and that. And then Santana came in and he was like, well, where were you when I was in the hospital? And Ortiz was like, I didn't care. And he's like, you're being selfish. And then Ortiz was like, oh, I guess you're right. And then they just like started fighting over each other, and they were mumbling each other's words and cutting each other off. And this was a perfect example of how a scripted promo would have worked with them in the backstage. And this is the thing that I keep talking about, is that comparing AEW with the Freedom is one thing, but scripted promos aren't bad. They're only bad if you don't need it. MJF doesn't need a scripted promo. Adam Cole, baby, doesn't need a scripted promo. The Rock, Stone Cold, The Miz. There's people that don't need scripted promos, but some people do. And just because Edge is an all-time great and maybe the best top 5 ever, you know what I mean? And he's good on the mic too, doesn't mean he doesn't need a scripted promo. He's, for the past 20 years, all he's done was use scripted promos. So I think it shows once again that all these fans who criticize WWE for having that, I think AEW showed a lot this week on how you kind of need them. Another thing too was the whole Juice Robinson promo with the quarters that they just completely got rid of, because that was an unscripted that he just went off. So once again, scripted promos can be good. They're not all bad. Just because someone's telling you what to say and you got to read it off a teleprompter doesn't mean it's bad.
No. Yeah. And to be honest, we don't really know what was scripted and what wasn't. It could be that Ricky Starks went off script and that's what threw Edge off, or it could be that it could be that the whole promo itself was unscripted and Edge didn't really know what to say, so that was his retort. So, but either way, unscripted promos are not good, and they're good sometimes. They work for the right people, but they're not. You can't do it for everybody. You can't do it for everybody. Some people need scripts. Some people need guides. And Edge is only, like I said, he's only been there for 2 weeks, and he's used to the WWE machine where they scripted everything to the very T. They scripted everything, and now that he's over there where he says he has a little bit more freedom, I think maybe he has a little too much freedom right now. So let's see what happens later on in the week and see what happens going forward. But it's not been a good couple of weeks for Adam Copeland so far in AEW.
We'll get into that. Yeah, we'll get into that later. But yeah, all right.
So, but yeah, I mean, I'll talk about more of that Ricky Starks promo in the opening of Collision, because it all started with Collision opened up and we had a TNT championship match later on in the night, the Bryan Danielson versus Christian Cage. And so Bryan Danielson opened up and he was cutting a promo about how he was going to win the TNT championship that night. And then out came Christian Cage, and Christian Cage cut a pretty good promo. Like, he didn't really say much. He brought out a bunch of his security people and he just sat on the turnbuckle, and he told whatever city they were in at the time to shut their mouth while he conducts business. He's just superb heel. He's in his turtleneck again. He's just a perfect heel. And then that's when everything kind of just falls apart, because then they bring out Bryan Daniel or Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Adam Copeland comes out. FTR comes out, and it's just they have too many things going on at one time. They have, you're trying to push the Edge or the Adam Copeland and Christian Cage story, but then you also have Bryan Danielson in the mix. You're also pushing the tag team championships in one time. It was just the whole opening segment just felt off, and it felt like AEW. It was cool to have all those guys in the ring. Yes, but it also kind of felt like AEW didn't know what storyline or what angle they wanted to focus on. Did they want to focus on Adam Copeland and Christian Cage? Because if that's the case, then why is he talking to Ricky Starks in the first place? Did they want to focus on Ricky Starks and Big Bill against FTR? If that's the case, then why are Bryan Danielson, Christian Cage, and Adam Copeland in the ring? Did they want to focus on Christian Cage and Bryan Danielson? If that's the case, then why is everybody else in the ring? It was a hot mess. It was too many people. Again, was it cool to have all those people in the ring at one time? Sure, maybe for Adam Copeland because he's never been in the ring with some of those guys before, and now he gets to step into the ring for the first time in a long time with FTR and Bryan Danielson, and he gets to be in the ring again with Christian Cage. But that was his first time with Ricky Starks, probably his first time with Big Bill, and but again, it was just the whole segment was all over the place. And the line with Ricky Starks and Adam Copeland, you could tell it, like I said earlier, it really threw him off, and it kind of threw off the rest of the promo. It kind of felt like everything else just felt flat, felt rushed, and they were like, okay, well, I guess we'll go to commercial after this. And it was just the whole thing after that vanilla midget line. Plus, like, do we have to call people vanilla midgets? Like, Kevin Nash got a lot of heat for calling Eddie Guerrero a vanilla midget. Rey Mysterio a vanilla midget. Like, that's just first of all, I don't think you can use that term anymore. Midget.
You can't. Yeah.
And number two, it's just it just feels like something that like a boomer would say, like an older person in wrestling would say. And I don't know, it just feels weird to call somebody that. And if Edge is there to really help people and boost AEW, shitting on one of your up and coming stars is not the way to do it. And that's exactly what he did with Ricky Starks. And so I don't know. It was, like I said, it was not a good look for Edge. It was not the opening started off fine with Bryan Danielson and Christian Cage, but then it just became a complete hot mess that was going in 16 different directions and kind of became hard to follow.
Yeah, it was very old school WWE segment where everybody's coming out and just rambling in front of each other, on top of each other, and it was going nowhere. But I agree with you with the vanilla midget line. It wasn't okay. They're little people. We don't say midget, so that is a derogatory term towards little people. And not only that, but it was very, like I said, this I talked about this with you before we jumped on. It was like the first time that I kind of was like, Edge, man, like I was disappointed in him. I've never been, even when he had his hump session with Lita in the middle of Raw, I wasn't even like disappointed in him. This was like the first time I was like, man, Edge, like what the heck? He just seemed flustered and out of character, and it was not him. And we'll go into that on Dynamite on how he continued his character development. But yeah, I agree with you, man. This was a hot mess. FTR being there was pointless. Everyone being there was pointless. I didn't get where they were going with it. The only two people should have been out there was Edge and Christian. And I'm also sick of Edge calling him Jay. He keeps calling him Jay. Like, his name is Christian Cage. No one is saying Jay, so stop freaking saying Jay. Like, I know everyone uses their real names in AEW, but he's not. And he's using Christian. So call him Christian. Stop saying Jay. And there's already other Jays in AEW. Stop. He did it on his little promo on Dynamite too. Stop calling him Jay. Stop with this whole stupid, like everyone knows what I'm talking about. This is a show. On Friends, Chandler Bing didn't just start calling Joey Matt LeBlanc because that's not his character name on the show. Stop. This is a show. Treat it as such. And it just like bothers the banana. Like, stop doing the whole fourth window shit. It's awful. But with speaking that said, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say, speaking of Friends, both of them were named Matthew. And you just mentioned both of those, you have multiple J's in AEW. So if Matthew Perry was calling Matt LeBlanc Matt, it was like
Matt. Yeah.
Like there's already too many of those. So
Phoebe did it. Yeah. Phoebe was like, Matt, you're not going to.
Yeah. Like what? Who are you talking about? So I agree. He needs to stop with the J stuff. Because when I think of Jay, I think of Jay Uso, Jay White, there's other J's, Jay Lethal.
Jay Lethal. Jay, yeah.
And JAS. So Anna J. So we don't need to go through people calling each other Jay. Not Christian Cage of all people too.
Yeah, his name is Christian. The end. Get over it. Just like Adam Copeland's still Edge. With that said, we're getting a return. And this is one thing I'm excited about, and that's a Mr. Danhausen. Very nice, very evil. He's been gone forever. I have no idea. I'm assuming he was injured. And he's been having these like old school TV promos popping up, the same one every single time. I think last on one of the shows, it was like a buy your t-shirt for $24.99 or his mask. But nonetheless, nonetheless, he is one of the biggest merchandise t-shirt sellers on AEW of all time, with only having like 3 matches. But I like how they're doing Danhausen right now. They have 3 shows, and you can tell how much I feel about Collision is going well. Collision, in my opinion, only had a good opening and a good closing, or impactful opening. Everything in the middle was trash. I really do feel like Collision is treated like Rampage. It's a C show. I feel like AEW has 2 C shows and an A show, that they don't have any B show. And they really need to start treating Collision like a B show. I know this main event, which we'll probably talk about next, was phenomenal, but that didn't make up for the fact that the other hour and a half of the show was whatever. Like, didn't intrigue me. But Danhausen coming back is intriguing. He can jump on Rampage. He can headline that. He can be the main event of Collisions. He can, are we going to have him wrestle? Danhausen was brought in, and the world blew up about how he was so independent. This dude that people didn't know about, that was fantastic. And I saw him with his shirt off 3 times. He wrestled 3 times, and I still don't know what to expect or what I'm getting out of Danhausen, but I am excited to see if they're hyping him up this time. Don't bring him back as a guy that just like casts spells on people. Bring him back as a wrestler. Are you excited for Danhausen? Are you over it because you don't think they're going to use him? Is he just a face for t-shirts? What's going on? Like, my boy Patrick, he was, when Danhausen first signed with AEW, he texted me instantly and was like, this guy's the future. And he just never did anything. I know he's been injured, but I don't know who he is. So are we going to get him? Am I finally going to see what Danhausen's all about? Because I'm excited if I do.
I hope so. Because I like the character. I think the character is great. And AEW doesn't have enough original characters. A lot of people in AEW are just wrestlers. And this guy's an actual character. He's an actual storyteller. So I'm curious to see how they use him. But he doesn't need the jobber treatment. He needs to, like, I know probably part of his gimmick is the comedy act and casting spells on people and that kind of thing, but I don't know. I want to see like a more serious side of Danhausen, and I want to see what he can do. I want to see what he's capable of. But yeah, I am excited about him coming back. I think it's something to look forward to, because I didn't hate his segments. I loved the Hookhausen. I loved all the stuff that he did backstage, but I want to see more of it, and I want to see a little bit more serious side of Danhausen for sure.
I agree. Let's go. Very evil, very nice. Let's go.
Bring him on. And then, the main event. The main event was Bryan Danielson and Christian Cage, and that match started. Collision went from 8 to 10 on Saturday night, and that match started at 9:27. So I think they had about 33 minutes of work, and it was a great match. It was phenomenal. It was, Christian Cage brought it. The man can still go. He's probably one of the better wrestlers that they have on the roster.
Heck yeah.
He wears his turtleneck in the ring. I just find that so awesome. I think it's
with the cut off. Yeah.
Yeah. And he pulls it off too. And it's great stuff. And yeah, the match itself, it was what it was. I was a little concerned that because they had Sheeta win the title on Tuesday night last week, and they had Orange Cassidy win the international title on Tuesday night. I was a little concerned that Bryan Danielson may actually beat Christian Cage and take the TNT championship off of him. I could just see Tony Khan doing that because he loves Bryan Danielson and they want to keep that TNT championship on Collision, and move the feud to Edge versus Christian without the TNT title, because maybe Edge is above that or something. I don't know, but I'm glad that it was the right decision to have Christian Cage get the win. It was a phenomenal match. I think that might be the first time that those guys have gone against each other in the ring. And they have amazing chemistry. The match itself was great. It was a great way to end what was, like you said, a pretty meh episode of AEW Collision.
Yeah, they got a good 25 plus minutes. Here's the thing, right? I don't want to say it because everyone's like, you can't say they're WWE guys, but these 2 dudes are WWE guys. And the thing that I loved about it was that they told a story in that ring without shedding blood. This is like the first time AEW's ever had a main event of that long where they didn't have to have people get cut. And this was probably, in my opinion, the match of the year in AEW. I like it that much. I thought the storytelling was phenomenal. The ending was great. Everything about it was perfect. This was 2 professionals showing us how wrestling can be done without blood, but still look vicious, still look aggressive, the pinfalls, everything about it. This was 2 of the best in the world going at it, and I loved everything about it. This like saved me for Collision. The whole Collision, I was like, Sheeta against nobody and this and that. And it was just like here comes Juice Robinson to have a pointless promo. This was like the highlight of Collision, and it made up for everything that Collision lacked. That's how good Christian Cage and Bryan Danielson are, and kudos to them. Thank you for giving me such a phenomenal match, and neither of them had to bleed for it. So wake up, Tony Khan. That's how it works. That's how it's done. Mox, take some notes.
No, it was a solid match. It was fun, and those two guys can bring it. And Christian Cage, I mean, he's the best heel in wrestling right now. Probably behind, maybe ahead of Dom. I'll say it. But the best.
Let's slow down. Let's slow down. Promo wise, yes, but the biggest heel, nah, fam, nah. He gets booed. No one gets booed like Dirty Dom.
But Dominic does it with cheap heat, and he doesn't have to say he doesn't have to drop swear words and stuff like that. He just gets booed for the very sight of him. Christian Cage gets
just for being alive. So Christian Cage has to like talk about people's mamas or I agree. All right, let's get into some Dynamite. You ready?
Yep.
All right. And with my two things I'm going to talk about Dynamite, it's going to feel like I didn't like Dynamite. I actually very much appreciated Dynamite. I thought Dynamite was, in comparison to Raw, thought they were both like 8 out of 10 shows. I thought they were really good. But I do want to continue with Adam Copeland and talk about his sit down, only because he went off the cuff on Collision and looked like a moron talking about calling him a vanilla midget and a rock, a fake rock. When here's the thing with promos, right? The one thing you never want to do as a wrestler is say something that's factual. And me and you texted, and I was telling you about how it was like the time The Rock buried the Big Show, and he started calling him the Big Slow. Well, it's a Big Slow. And after that, fans were like, the Big Slow, and they watched his matches like, that dude is slow, and he never recovered from it. He had a title reign. It was embarrassing. He just never was able, and he gained weight. He was never able to overcome being the Big Slow. You don't talk about personal things, and him calling him a vanilla midget and a rock wannabe are like the two things he is. He's literally short, and he does impersonate The Rock or has those vibes, whether he's trying or not. So to say things that are real is not okay, especially from a vet, because you don't want to bury the talent. So he follows that up with a promo with Renee Paquette, correct? It was Renee Paquette, yeah. And they did like a sit down about him, and holy cow, maybe it's just me. This thing was boring. He basically just like kissed everybody's butt, acted like he was the nicest of all people, talked about how he doesn't even want to take Christian Cage's TNT title. He just wants him to love him. He'll never fight him. I'll never fight you ever. I just want us to be besties. And Renee's like, you don't want to fight him? And he's like, no, ever. I don't want to win his TNT title. I just don't want to. I want us to be best friends. He's my God's son, child, whatever. The Godfather, to my children. And it was so stupid. Here's the thing, right? I am such an Edge fan. Dude is missing since he came to AEW. Once again, guys from WWE coming to AEW and not succeeding. Check. And you got a legend. The only one is Jericho. Other than that, they have just not succeeded. Check. They don't do it. They come over and they don't know what the heck they're doing. Maybe it's unscripted promos. Maybe it's the way they push the show, but this did not hit for me. I haven't seen a good Adam Copeland promo yet. His match with Luchasaurus was mediocre. And if he's not feuding with Christian because he doesn't want to take anything from him, then what the hell is he here for? Why is he in AEW? Explain to me, Shooting Star. What was the point of this promo? I thought it was atrocious. And that's not me dogging Edge. I just don't know what the hell's happening. If he doesn't want to fight Christian, then why are you here? What are you doing there?
And they called it the rated R rebuttal. And I was expecting to see, like, no pun intended, but an edgier version of Adam Copeland. I was expecting to see some remnants of the old Edge in there, the rated R superstar. And now he can actually be the rated R superstar instead of being the rated R superstar in a PG era. He can actually be a little bit more edgy. And yeah, it was just the same old, like, I don't really know what he wants either. Like, I don't know if he knows what he really wants, because I still think he thinks he's Edge, but he's trying too hard to be Adam Copeland. and he just needs to go out there and not worry about name changes. He doesn't need to worry about what the fans are chanting. Just go out there and say what you have to say. But this whole thing just fell flat. It was not it was not his best work. And I had a hard time, and I don't know if it was the production value or what, but I had a hard time understanding what he was saying sometimes too, because he was just talking a little bit like this, and I just really couldn't understand him. And do I want to fight Christian Cage? No. I mean, do I want to do I want to take his TNT championship? No. I had a hard, like, he was talking really kind of fast, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of not following what's going on here, because you come out of Wrestle Dream and you save Sting from a concerto, and you take out Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne. Christian Cage gets out of the ring. Your first promo with Edge or with Christian, you tell him you want to team up with him, which that didn't make any sense either. And then Christian Cage tells him to go F himself. And then they have their little thing on Collision, and then they have their match against Luchasaurus. And then this week he's doing that. And it's just like, we want to see the match. Like, let's, if this is the build for a Full Gear match, I'm not invested right now. I am not invested in this whatsoever.
Yeah. It better not be. Well, I'll still watch Edge and Christian live, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. But still, just the build. Like, I'm supposed to be excited about it. And if this is what we're going to get at Full Gear, I'm not in on it.
Yeah. I told you I didn't want them to feud right off the bat, and it doesn't look like Edge wants that either. So I don't know what's happening. I'm assuming it's going to lead to Christian forcing him to want to fight him and blah, blah, blah. And then he'll want to fight him and then beat him for the TNT title. That's obviously what's going to happen, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Did you like something? Let's see. What's your first?
There was something that I did. I don't know if I want to say I liked it, but we had a segment on Dynamite where the icon Sting addressed his fans, and he came out. First of all, Tony Schiavone introduces him, and he does the "It's Sting," which I think that's always been a little overrated. His introduction of Sting, he just says 2 words, but Sting comes out and he starts talking about his career and the highs and lows of his career. He brings up guys like Randy Savage. He brings up Hulk Hogan. He brings up Ric Flair, and all the amazing stuff that they've done together in the ring. He's talked about, just again, his time in AEW and all that stuff. And he mentions the word. He mentions the R word, which is retirement. And the fans are chanting, "Thank you, Sting. You still got it." But basically, Sting says that he is retiring at AEW Revolution 2024, which takes place in March of next year. So we're in October. So 6 months: October, November, December, January, February, and March. So we have 6 more months of Sting in a wrestling ring. And he did say that the only thing that's for sure is that this is for sure. So he changed his little outro line to make sure to let everyone know that this is the real deal. He's not coming back. He's not going to be in the wrestling ring. And, it's kind of bittersweet because I love Sting. He's one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, but at the same time, kind of feel like he should have done this maybe a year or 2 ago, maybe 3 years ago, but I still, like, it's going to be weird. Like, he has been in wrestling ever since I started watching the sport in 1999, and it's going to be weird to not have him in it. And so I'm a little. I mean, I'm sad to see him go, of course, but at the same time, it's also 6 months away. So, like, what are we going to do from now till 6 months? So, I have some ideas. I mean, I mentioned on my TikTok yesterday that I think this is the perfect time to bring back Jack Perry and let him be the one to retire Sting. Maybe they have Ricky Starks do it, and that's how he continues to get elevated. Or there's a dark horse that I think could do it, and it's Malachi Black. So I'd be down for that too. But I don't know. I don't know who they're going to have do it. But I mean, it was Sting's career. It's been amazing, and from Surfer Sting to Crow Sting to Joker Sting So I'm going to be sad to see him go, but I'm glad he gets to end it on his terms this time, as opposed to what happened with him and Seth Rollins in the WWE.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be Darby Allin, but
Maybe
who retires him. But like, I don't know. I've never been the biggest Sting fan. I didn't like Sting in WCW. Sorry, y'all. And I always feel like it's like Fedor Emelianenko. I don't know if you know who that is. He was an MMA fighter who fought in Pride forever and like destroyed everybody. And he always refused to go to the UFC. And people still call him like the greatest heavyweight of all time. And I'm like, if you never fought in the UFC, you're not really the greatest. And I feel like that was Sting. And I know Sting's time in WWE wasn't his fault. He had 2 matches, lost them both, got injured in one, had to retire. But I just feel like listening to him saying he was going to retire was kind of like, man, like, are you really one of the all? Like, you never, ever had like those moments, right? He never had his WrestleMania moment per se. It was kind of ruined by Triple H beating him. And I know that's not his fault, but like, man, like, yeah, with NWO and DX coming out, like and then why did NWO come to his back? NWO hated Sting, but I just like, it never made sense. But like, and it's not against him. This is nothing against him. I like Sting. I don't hate him. I think it's awesome. He's still fighting at 110 years old and he's still going at it. But I don't know. And it felt flat. I felt like the crowd was like into it. And then when he said he was retiring, they were kind of like, whatever. It's 6 months from now, bro. Like, who cares? Like, it felt like with Bryan Danielson, like, my daughter said I should stop wrestling 8 years from now when she's 10 and she's 4 right now. So I got 6 more years. I'm going to retire then. Like, I don't know why we're doing like year-long retirements, but I mean, it is what it is. Go Sting, go. I mean, I'm bummed we never got Sting and Taker. I'm bummed that Sting is going to retire in AEW and never really. I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame of WWE, right? He went to the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he was inducted. Yeah, after
he got retired.
Injury, he was inducted.
So at least he had that. But I don't know. I just feel like, man, Sting. He was that anti WWE guy, so I get why people like him. But I don't know, just him just randomly saying it on a Dynamite, it just didn't feel, I don't know. There was just something missing about it. Maybe I'm off. I could be the oddball. I could be the outlier here, but I don't know. It just didn't, I don't know. It felt weird to me. Just, it didn't hit. I thought it just felt, it should have felt more important. I mean, Sting's been wrestling for 75 years. Like, it just didn't feel like that. Like when Undertaker even came on NXT, it felt more important than, I don't know. It just didn't, I don't know. There was something missing about it.
Yeah, the thing that maybe was missing was it's 6 months from now. So why did they feel the need to announce it right now? With everything going on in AEW, with all the stories they have, and I mean, obviously, must have been Sting's call. I mean, it had to have been, but still,
100%.
Why now? Like, why couldn't they wait until January of 2024 to say, hey, the first pay-per-view of the new year, it's gonna be my last one. This is gonna be my last match, and give us a build. I mean, are we going to, I guess they do it for the Sting farewell tour or whatever of AEW. I mean, maybe they can sell tickets. I don't know. It just, but it just felt weird hey, I'm retiring in 6 months. So, I'll be back next week. See you guys then. But I don't know. It just, I just didn't understand why they had to do it now of all times, but
I agree.
We'll see. I thought for sure that someone was going to come out and interrupt them, and that was going to lead to like the first of several farewell matches, but which kind of happened afterwards with the awful Darby Allin or the Nick Wayne JR segment.
Yeah. Why was Sting still in the ring? I thought that was so weird. They had that segment, and then all of a sudden, like, he came out getting beat up by Darby, and then Sting was like still in the ring. I was so confused by did I miss something? Why was this all in one?
Yeah, because they cut the commercial
combined.
and then they came back and did the interview. It was and can we stop with the backstage JR interviews? I couldn't understand a word he was saying because he was this and this. I'm like I'm sorry, like what are you talking about, dude?
You
like
got Renee Paquette, y'all. Like use Renee Paquette. She is money. Like I don't.
But but that segment with Christian Cage, he saved it there. Like the Nick Wayne's mom, like that whole thing was bad, but Christian Cage saved it there at the end. Told her to call him, which I thought was awesome. And then and then Darby Allin took him out, and then Sting was there to save him. So,
and knocked his tooth out. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, maybe it's gonna be Christian Cage that retires Sting.
That'd be good.
He kills Darby's father or something. I don't know.
Oh man. And speaking of randomness that like I like, but I also don't like, just like the Sting retirement, is MJF. And I'm calling this the MJF and the million people he's going to wrestle. Once again, Tony Khan. Here's the thing, right? Don't get me wrong. I saw MJF like 4 times in a row on Dynamite. I love it. He was good in everything he was doing. But you have maybe the second hottest thing, maybe the third hottest, because you got MJF and Christian. Then you got Jay White. You got the third probably hottest thing going on in AEW right now. Jay White is money. Stole his belt, is holding it up for ransom. We got people fighting over who's going to help him or who's going to fight him. And MJF is just all over the place. But you have such a great feud. You finally did it without a tournament, Tony Khan. Good job. You finally had somebody fight MJF without a tournament to build up to it. And you have him in a phenomenal feud for the first time in his year-long reign, minus Daniel Bryan. And you are now having him have Samoa Joe. I want MJF. You have Roderick Strong. I want MJF. You have freaking Kenny Omega. I want MJF. 13 days. You have freaking Wardlow come out and have an awful match and then show it, MJF. And then MJF comes out to watch the Battle Royal and says, everybody wants to fight me. What the fudge? How many people want to fight Roman Reigns right now? Please tell me, Shooting Star. Who wants to fight Roman Reigns right now? I'm just asking for a friend.
LA Knight and John
Cena.
Cena.
That's right. Okay, maybe John. No, it's LA Knight. Who wants to fight Seth Rollins right now?
Uso, Jimmy Uso.
No, who wants to fight? Who wants to fight Seth Rollins right now? Who wants to fight Seth Rollins? Drew McIntyre. Who wanted to fight Seth Rollins before that? Who was it? How many people want to? Yeah, just Nakamura. So why are we having multiple? And you have a money feud finally. Why are we complicating it? Why do all these people need to get in on it and try to like? I don't like. Once again, Tony Khan, you finally did something right. You're building a feud, and then you're just over complicating it with all these other people. Why the hell does Wardlow like? You're gonna do that Wardlow MJF thing now? Not after he beats Jay White and then have Wardlow, that feud that we should have always gotten. Now you're going to do it now when the time is not right and the money isn't there. Tony Khan, like, once again, that's the difference between being a fan and being an actual booker in the wrestling business. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe you like having everybody and their mom. Are you feuding with MJF right now? I don't know. I'm assuming you are.
My thing is why MJF is a babyface currently. So why are you having Wardlow, who's supposed to be a babyface, and Kenny Omega, who's supposed to be a babyface, and potentially Adam Cole, who's supposed to be a babyface? Yeah, like all of these people are babyfaces going after MJF. Samoa Joe like shook MJF's hand after the match at Dynamite Grand Slam. So
but now he wants him.
Yeah, technically he's a babyface. So I mean, he's a heel character, but that was a babyface move. So I don't know. I don't understand what they're doing. The Wardlow thing feels a little too late. The Kenny Omega thing feels like it's 4 years too late. Like, why are these guys feuding now for the first time? And since that should have been one of the first pay-per-views that they had. Should have been one of the first highlighted match, Omega versus MJF. I don't know what they're doing. Like, just focus on Jay White. Like, you have a compelling story with that. You have a compelling build. There's still 3 or 4 more weeks to go before that pay-per-view event even takes place. And I'm interested. I'm in on that match. I want to see it. And I'm curious. Like, they're telling a great story. Don't overcomplicate it with little side plots of Kenny Omega and Adam Cole and Roderick Strong and Samoa Joe and MJ. Like, just focus on Jay White because he's got the title. And who knows? Maybe Juice Robinson wins the Dynamite Diamond Ring next week, and now you have both MJF's prized possessions in the hands of the Bullet Club Gold. So focus on that because that's good stuff. So
I agree.
I'm not digging that at all.
Yeah. All right. What's your last thing?
The thing with Dynamite is I forgot what I was going to talk about. With
the main event? What are you talking about? The Battle Royal? What do you want to talk about?
The Juice Robinson. Let's talk about Juice Robinson because I'm number one. I'm glad that they dropped that stupid quarters angle. I'm glad that they got rid of that. That was good for business, terrible thing, and I was the right decision to make to get rid of that and just not even bring it up. Don't even address it. But man, everything about that battle royal, like all the battle royal itself was kind of whack. But I think Juice Robinson was the right person to win. I think, you know, he had a big win over Christopher Daniels on Collision, and then he gets to win the Dynamite Battle Royal. The only thing is I always thought that the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal was for the Dynamite Diamond Ring, but now it's to face MJF for a shot at the Dynamite Diamond Ring. So
they did that last year too. That's what they've been doing now.
Yeah. I guess because
he still has it. Because
But don't you want a new ring don't you like when you win the championship, like if you repeat as a champion, you get a new ring. You don't get like, oh, here's last year's ring, but you're still the champion, so you're just gonna wear it. Like, but you should
have 5.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a minor detail. But I'm actually kind of liking what they're doing with Juice Robinson, because, you know, when he's kind of been the joke of the Bullet Club Gold, him and the Guns. Jay White's always been the leader. Like he still does some weird things where he carries out the cardboard cutout of Jay White and that kind of stuff. But I mean, his in-ring stuff, it's phenomenal. His promo skills are great. I think this match next week, I think it could be an underrated match. I think Juice Robinson can go when he wants to. And I think next week he's going to show just what he's capable of doing. And I'm excited about this match for sure.
Yeah, the only thing I have a problem with it, well, for one, I like that he has a TJ Maxx ring because he's utter white trash, and that's nothing against people in the world who are white trash. Do you? But he's like, that's his gimmick, right? He's like a white trash redneck who's like, I got this from TJ Maxx and it's $24.95. Like, and I'm gonna knock you out with it. Like, I like all that, and I like where they're going with it because he fits the bill, right? But I the only thing is that he ain't gonna beat MJF. So you're going to have MJF beat him next week. And then what? How does that help promote him fighting Jay White later? Like, having Max Caster win, at least that I could have like kept something going on after, because then he fights Max Caster and Max Caster's trying to get all up on him, and then he like rolls up Max Caster by like pulling his tights up, and Caster's like too into it to carry. He's like, ooh, 1, 2, 3, thank you, MJF, you know what I mean? Like, you got me pinned, blah blah blah. And like that, at least that can like go somewhere. But like once he beats Juice Robinson next week, then what? Then he's just like, like Juice Robinson's gonna win. So we're like, how is this extending the feud going on with the Bullet Club Gold? Oh, you think it's gonna be? You think he's had it for 4 years, and on the 5th year he's losing it to Juice Robinson, who wants to pawn it? Unless they're getting rid of it forever, that's the only way I see Juice Robinson winning. If he truly pawns it, and the ring's gone forever, and we're done with it. I mean, the ring.
I think Jay White. Jay White's gonna cost him JF. I think that's how he loses it. Jay White's
if
gonna
that
cost
works,
him. Yeah,
right.
And then that's what's gonna continue, because now Bullet Club Gold has the Dynamite Diamond Ring and the Triple B, and then Adam Cole hasn't been around, so all of his prized possessions in his life are gone. And yeah, that's what I think is gonna happen. So I wouldn't be surprised if Juice Robinson wins, but playing the role of fantasy booker, I would have had Max Caster win the Battle Royal with the help of MJF. So MJF finally decides to take Max Caster up on his offer of, hey, we'll help you. But he helps Max Caster eliminate Juice Robinson. And then the Bullet Club Gold beats up Max Caster, and MJF helps him. And then out comes Billy Gunn and Anthony Bowens. And now you've got match for the trios title and Jay White and MJF. Right there, you have the Bullet Club Gold against the Acclaimed, and now you have Juice or MJF and Jay White. But what do I know? I'm just a fan.
Nothing. You ain't Tony Khan, who isn't a fan. He's a booker. But yeah, but that's basically, I was saying the same stuff, right? I mean, that's the way. Max Caster just leads to more storylines and more intrigue than Juice Robinson and going up against the Bullet Club, you know, Jay White for the title. So we shall see. We'll see what happens next week.
Yeah,
next week. All right. You got one more.
Yeah. Correct? I want to talk the Powerhouse Hobbs. Yeah. Powerhouse Hobbs and Kenny Omega, and just the Kenny Omega, Kenny Omega versus Kyle Fletcher. So I'm really, Kyle Fletcher, man, he had a match on Collision. He can go. He went against Kenny, where he challenged Kenny Omega on Collision, and he proved to everybody that he can go. And that match was great. I mean, it was underrated, probably a really solid match. And I'm kind of digging what they're doing with Powerhouse Hobbs right now. He took out Chris Jericho last week, and now he's getting opportunity to shine with Kenny Omega. He just stood at the commentary table with Don Callis, and while Don Callis was on commentary, and he was just staring at Kenny Omega. Yeah. So Takeshita was there. So yeah, I'm digging what they're doing with Powerhouse Hobbs. I'm digging what they're doing with Don Callis, and I think it's mainly because of one thing that they're doing, and that's telling a story. And Don Callis is he's trying to get his family to take these guys out, and it's working. I'm digging it. I wasn't liking it at first. I was like, okay, they're kind of the pictures and the artwork and all that stuff is kind of getting lame, but now, like, I think the addition of Powerhouse Hobbs, I think it's going to help elevate him to a whole new stratosphere, and I think it's going to help. It's going to help that faction get over, and I think Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho are going to do the right thing and put him over, put Takeshita over, and but I'm digging it. I'm digging the story. I'm digging all of it. So I want to see them continue to do it. And Kyle Fletcher, man, I'm not one to break up tag teams, but he needs to break away from Aussie Open and go solo, because that man can go, and I think he has a great singles run ahead of him.
That kind of let me get into that. So for one, Don Callis' family is finally clicking. It's finally doing because they got people. It was just him and Takeshita the whole time, and it was like meh. But now with him and Takeshita, with Powerhouse Hobbs, with Sammy Guevara, who got injured, so he'll be back, and trying to get Kyle Fletcher. I mean, it's going on. I love Don Callis on the mic. He was hyping Kyle Fletcher the entire match, and as soon as he lost, he was like, "That guy is garbage." And he was like, "What do you mean? He had a phenomenal match, garbage, but he had a great match, but he didn't finish. Like, we're finishers." Like, I thought it was hilarious that he was praising him the entire. I knew. I was like, "Oh man, this is obviously leading to he's trash," and he said it. But Kyle Fletcher,
he was bashing him before the match too, which
he was.
He was like, "This guy's the weak link. He's the only reason that we lost, but I'm willing to give him another chance." So
But holy cow, Kyle Fletcher, I think, outdid Kenny Omega, which it was like back in the days when Eminem rapped with Jay-Z on Renegade, and Nas came out and was like, "Dude, Eminem killed you on your own shit." It's like you didn't think someone could do that, and then they did it. This was like Kyle Fletcher against Kenny Omega, and Kyle Fletcher beat him at his own game. Like, he looked better than him, he wrestled better than him, and I feel bad for Homeboy and Aussie Open. Dude got injured, and they're like, instead of just letting Kyle Fletcher sit, they're like, "Oh, let's just let him have single matches." And I think you're right. I think Aussie Open is done, dude. I think Kyle Fletcher is a superstar, and I think they're just gonna forget about him and move on and have Kyle Fletcher have a solo career, because he's the real deal. I don't see any difference between him, Omega, Ospreay, all these dudes. He's on that level. It feels like, at least to me, that he can go with these dudes. I mean, obviously he's not Ospreay and Omega, but you know what I'm saying, that he can go and he can be that guy right now. He can Brian down anyone. Like, why not? Dude can go, and he's got a good look. Good on the mic. I mean, yes, please sign me up. Sign me up all day. Yeah,
I'm all in on Kyle Fletcher. I think he's phenomenal.
Aussie. Yeah, I agree. All right, man. That was AEW, the week in review. Not bad. Like I said, they had a good week. I know I crapped them on a little bit, but I think they had a very good week. And WWE did too. They all did.
And they had solid ratings too. They had solid ratings for Dynamite. And 900,000 people tuned in on Wednesday night to watch it. At one point, they cracked 1 million in the opening match. They cracked over 1 point. They had like 1.1 million watching, and then I guess they turned it off after. But still, 900,000 people watched it on. So way up from the numbers last week. So,
which is good. All right, you ready for our segment? Doing the same segment as we did in WWE yesterday. We're doing some highs and lows. Are you ready for our highs and lows? Let's see. Let's get it popped up there. Let's get it popped up there.
Yes, sir. I've got it right here.
There it is. All right. Highs and lows. And as always, we will have the more handsome guy in the room, Mr. ShootingStarPRS, start us off. So what is your high for AEW this week, my man?
I'm going to My high with AEW, and you might disagree with this, depending on what your low is, but
objection.
I'm going to say that I think AEW is doing a phenomenal job of utilizing their original and their homegrown stars at the current moment. If you look at all the champions in AEW, you have MJF, you have the Acclaimed holding the trios title, MJF holding the world title, you have Ricky Starks holding one half of the tag team championships, you have Christian Cage, of course, and Big Bill and Billy Gunn are all ex-WWE guys holding titles. But Orange Cassidy has the international championship. Sheeta has the women's championship. So it's just Powerhouse Hobbs is rising up through the ranks. Wardlow apparently now wants a piece of MJF, and maybe feels a little too late for that. But yeah, it was written on his wrist that Tony Schiavone was like, "Oh, it says MJF. It says MJF." He was freaking out, but. You say whatever you want about Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and how you feel about them being EVPs and stuff, but when you work with them, it's a big deal in AEW. And Kyle Fletcher is getting an opportunity to shine against Kenny Omega, and now Powerhouse Hobbs has an opportunity to shine against Kenny Omega. He had a great match last week with the squash match against Chris Jericho. And now Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Don't forget that the Young Bucks are the #1 contenders. They have a tag team title match whenever they want. They won it at Wrestle Dream. And so they'll have an opportunity most likely against Ricky Starks. And Ricky Starks is also working against the BCC. So I really think AEW is doing a great job of utilizing their current and homegrown and original stars at the moment. The Jay White, he's not really an AEW original, but he's killing it at the moment. And MJF is doing his thing, and the Acclaimed are doing their thing. So yeah, AEW, man, they need to keep it up, because this is the AEW I like, is when they're using their guys, and the ex-WWE guys are kind of there to put them over and help elevate them and get them to the next level. So
yeah, and no one is proving that more right now than Ricky Starks. I think Ricky Starks is the hottest thing going right now in AEW as an up and comer, as a AEW original. Minus that Edge trying his best to bring him down. Ricky Starks is that dude. I mean, he's that dude. That proved that he's that dude. He shook a vet, a 20-year vet. He made that dude act like a child. That just shows how good he is. And he just carries that charisma, man. So I agree with you. That is a high. They are utilizing, even though one of those guys is in my low this week, you are correct. The AEW originals are getting those highs. And speaking of, I want to talk about someone who's not a non-WWE guy. He's was going to be a WWE guy at WrestleMania, and it never happened. And I think my high right now is Jay freaking White, man, and Bullet Club Gold. Guns up, baby. He is doing his damn thing. Everything about him is amazing. Even him coming out with wearing the title to only get his butt kicked to lose the title, to then nut shot him to get the title back. Everything about him is good. His promos are good. His matches are great. He had multiple good matches this week in AEW. He is that man, and I have never been more excited. Honestly, I mean, I might have maybe, but I honestly, in my memory, I have never been more excited for an AEW World Championship match than I am with MJF and Jay White. I think, and maybe it's just because we're going to be there live. Just think about it right now, Shooting Star Press. We're going to see them go live. That match is going to be awesome. a banger, a banger, a banger, a banger. And it's going to go 30 plus minutes. I mean, this is like Jay White is that dude. And even with everything going on, I still think there's a chance Jay White can win that match. Why not? He looks good with the belt. He carries himself well. And when you talk about, Kyle Fletcher's, and we're talking about Kenny Omega's and Will Ospreay, even though I don't think anyone's Will Ospreay, Jay White is there. He's that dude as well. Another guy with the Bryan Danielsons and so on that are just those dudes. So, I mean, right now, my high has to be Jay White and everything he's doing, building the first ever rivalry of the heavyweight championship of MJF's run since he faced Bryan Danielson in his first title defense. So, yeah.
No, I'm loving Jay White. I think this is the most excited I've been about him since he's been in AEW. He's kind of been even like, I think I made jokes before about Bullet Club Gold and how I thought it was a stupid name. I was like, what do you get if you're in Bullet Club Gold? Do you get like rewards points or what? But now like that group is starting to click. I mean, I'm digging the Guns more now than I ever have before. I'm digging Juice Robinson than I ever have before, and I think it's all because of Jay White. And one thing too is finally, after a couple of bad vignettes with Adam Cole and Roderick Strong, Adam Cole finally left Roderick Strong's house, and it looks like he's coming back next week, and he's going to see MJF, and so now he gets added to this. Hopefully, he'll get added to this rivalry somehow, and I think he'll just add to it. And so I'm excited to see what they do with it. But yeah, I'm all in on Jay White and MJF. I'm feeling it. I'm digging it. And Jay White he's money right now, and you can tell he's having a fun time. He's probably having a lot of fun doing this, and probably some of the most fun he's had in his AEW run. Both AEW runs.
Yeah, I agree. All right, man. What's your low?
Yeah. So in about 10 hours from now, it's 12:47 a.m. on the East Coast, and so at about 10 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday night is Battle of the Belts 8, and I'm just that's my low. Battle of the Belts. Like, why? I don't like it. I think can you tell me anything that happened at Battle of the Belts 7? Can you tell me anything that happened at Battle of the Belts 1? Can you tell me anything that happened at Battle of the Belts 2, 3, 4, or 5, or 6? Because I can't, because there's no build for it. There's no intrigue. There's no reason to watch it. I remember I think one of them, Cody Rhodes, couldn't wrestle because he had COVID-19, and so they replaced him with Dusty. But that's all I know. That's all I remember. It was for the TNT Championship. That's when they crowned like the first interim TNT champion.
Yeah,
but other than that,
right.
That's all I remember from it. And I don't even know what Battle of the Belts that was, but I don't know. It's just to me, you have an event called Battle of the Belts, and you only have it's an hour-long show, and you only have 3 matches. And yeah, you're defending the TBS championship, you're defending the Trios championship, and you're defending the international championship. Yeah, Orange Cassidy has a match, and the Acclaimed are going against the Daniel Garcia and those guys, and Chris Statlander's going against Sky Blue. So I don't know. Like Night of Champions, Roman Reigns didn't defend the Undisputed Championship. He went for the tag team titles instead with Solo, and that was a great match and a great moment. But still, like, it's Night of Champions. You got to put your titles on the line. Battle of the Belts.
I agree.
You got to put all of your belts on the line. MJF's not going to be like, you know what would intrigue me? MJF versus Juice Robinson for the Dynamite Diamond Ring at Battle of the Belts, or something like that to happen. But we're not going to get that. And
no,
I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know why they do this. I don't know. It feels like a waste of TV time, and I don't know. I don't want to see Battle of the Belts 8, especially with no world title on the line, no TNT championship on the line. Christian Cage being there against Darby Allin again. Like, sign me up. But no, it's not. It's not going to happen. So it just feels like an episode of Rampage.
Yeah. And the easy fix is Rampage. I mean, we just had Title Tuesday on Dynamite.
And 2
why
titles
not
were defended.
have?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So why not? And we just had Title Tuesday. So why are we doing this? Like, why not have Battle of the Belts Rampage? Like, that's easy fix, done and done. Now Battle of the Belts matters. It's on a Rampage. Who cares? But you make it its own show. It's stupid. No one cares. Orange Cassidy's going to go up against nobody. Chris Statlander, nobody cares. And the Acclaimed are going to beat Daddy Magic and, Daniel Garcia. Although Daniel Garcia, minus his, dance with, other than Swerve Strickland, you know what I mean? Prince Nana, he has the second best dance. I mean, AEW's killing it with the dances, I got to say. But, like, what do I care? I'm going to be forced to watch it because it's my job on this podcast to review it. But minus that, if it wasn't, I would skip it. I don't give 2 rats about these Battle of the Belts. No one's losing them. Move on. Move on with my life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Acclaimed against Daniel Garcia, Matt Menard, and Angelo Parker. Why not do the Acclaimed versus Bullet Club Gold? Add some intrigue. Make it something worth watching. The AEW TBS Championship is Chris Statlander. I said Sky Blue earlier, but it's against Willow Nightingale. And then the International Championship is Orange Cassidy versus the winner of tonight's match on Rampage, Brother Zay, Kip Sabian, or John Silver. And so, but like, where's the build for this? Where like, oh well, so-and-so won on Rampage tonight, so we gotta, now they're gonna have a match on Battle of the Belts less than 24 hours later. Like, there's no build. And I want to see build.
I agree.
I want to have a reason to watch it, and there's no reason for me to watch this tomorrow night
other than Daniel Garcia.
We have to. Yeah.
Daniel Garcia, baby. All right, let's talk about my low. And my low is what's one of your highs, and that is Wardlow.
It says MJF.
Wardlow, you get what I mean. Yeah. Okay, for one, when did Wardlow become a mute? He always talks. So why is he not speaking? Secondly, how come you can beat people now without them tapping out or pinning them? When has the ref decided that he did one power bomb? And I know they were trying to prove that, like, oh my god, it's like even Tony Schiavone came in and was like, whoa, like scared by the guy. He was like knocked out, and it was poor Dolph Ziggler's brother. But like, you're like, what? Like, he did one power bomb and walked out, and the ref's like, all right, I guess, bing, bing, bing. It's so like, who is this turning on? Who is like right now, like, yeah, Wardlow, let's get her done. Like, he's gonna fight MJF, I think. I don't know. It's like, that could have just been like maybe he's an MJF supporter. What the hell did that even prove? It was stupid, dumb, and also it reminded me of a David Blaine magic trick. Do you know what David Blaine is? David Blaine with his magic tricks where like the cards, and then like they pull it out of like their chest, and it has like their name written on it. That's what made me think, like, how did Wardlow left the ring? Shooting Star, he left the ring, and then Tony Schiavone was like, nah, I'm gonna interview you, and Wardlow was like, blah, 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 blah. And he came back in, and he was like, who are you want to fight? And he was like, whoosh. How did he already have it there? Was he David Blaine? Did he know this was gonna happen? Did he already get that it was all so stupid, and he's not even getting cheered anymore. No one gives two. Wardlow was hotter than the Acclaimed. Wardlow was the hottest act when MJF was done with him. MJF has lost how many times in his history? Once? And that's against Wardlow. Not all time, but in recent history, he's lost. His last match was Wardlow. Last time he lost, correct?
Singles match, He got pinned by FTR.
Yeah, but his last singles loss was Wardlow, and it was a squash match, bruh. A squash match. He squashed him. He got no defense in, no offense in at all. Got squashed. And what did we do with him after that? And now he's coming in with the wristband, the David Blaine magic power of knowing the question he was going to be asked before he knew it was going to be asked. Stupid. That's my low, bro.
Yeah, that's a pretty... You're right. And when is he going to fight? When's he going to fight MJF? Yeah. When's he going to go after him?
Maybe it's on his wrist.
And here's the thing. Wardlow did an interview maybe earlier this week, and he was talking about how he wants to come back for MJF because he sees right through MJF's act. Everybody wants to forgive MJF for all the mean things that he did, and Wardlow never forgets, and he doesn't. He was like cutting a promo on MJF.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. He was cutting a promo on MJF, basically saying, like, I see right through him. The fans may not see through him, but I do. He's still the same con artist and the same sleazeball that he's always been. He's still a scumbag and yada yada yada. And so I was actually, I can't remember where
you did my yada yada yada. You did it. You did my yada yada yada. You're welcome. But
yeah, like I was actually I think it was like a New York Times. It was some article. It was not New York Times, but it was like it wasn't a wrestling publication. It was like a real like media outlet interviewing Wardlow, and it was intriguing. But the thing is I think Tony Khan just assumes that we all saw that, and he's like,
yes, he does.
That's why he's going after MJF. So we're supposed to know that, but. I was actually it made sense when he was talking about it, but then he doesn't bring it up on TV, so then it just looks like you said. It was stupid how it was presented though. So yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
It was bad. It was really, really bad. And by the way, his haircut, bro. I'm sorry. I was talking to friends too, and they were like, "Dude, do you see Wardlow's haircut?" I'm sorry. Either be bald or have long hair. Don't come back with a crew cut like Sting when he was Surfer Sting. He looks awful. I'm just not feeling him right now. Like his vibe is not talking. No thanks. past. There's other
and what
big
happened
men
to
I
him and
like.
Arn Anderson? Bring back on.
Weren't they? Yeah, I don't know. Give me some Miro. Actually, the Miro shit was whack too. But still, I would defeat anybody who wants to pair up with my girlfriend. It's another low. Yeah. You see this guy? He wanted to wrestle with my girlfriend. Like, huh? What's happening?
So,
like,
talk about filler. God, that was.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So stupid. Me, Miro. Me, crush people who flirt with girlfriend. Anyway, all right. That was AEW, y'all. Highs and lows. Did you go away? I can't hear you. Are you there? Oh, you're on mute. That's why you muted yourself. Welcome back to the party. Yeah, you're not on mute anymore, bro.
Yeah. I don't know what it's in my browser, like blocked access to my mic, whatever. But
nope. I think you went full Wardlow, and you never go full Wardlow.
That's right.
Yeah, my kids right now are hiding in my room, so they're ready for me to. What's up, dorks? Anyway, all right, but yeah, that was it. That was AEW this week. That was. I still thought it was a good week. I know we ended on lows once again, like WWE, but we had to end on lows. But I thought they had a good week, solid week. Don't let the Miros.
It was better than Title Tuesday.
Yeah, 100%. I thought so. I thought Dynamite this week was better. Yeah. And we didn't talk about the awful, or did we? The awful Adam Cole, Roderick Strong segment. Holy cow, that was bad too. But yeah,
he's coming back, and hopefully he gets injected into the Jay White stuff, and we see more MJF and Adam Cole. I want more of that and less Roderick Strong.
This is me making a peanut butter and jam. I should have opened with that. Why did I not open with me having a seductive peanut butter smearing on sourdough bread? By the way, put in the comments, who the hell puts peanut butter and jelly on sourdough? Absolutely nobody. And also, who makes a peanut butter and jelly 50-50? Bruh, if you make a peanut butter and jelly 50-50, you're a psychopath. It is 80-20 at the best, peanut butter to jelly. 80% peanut butter, 20% jelly. Jelly's just there. Yes, jelly's just there to get it wet, so you have some lubrication. Eat that peanut butter, baby.
You put 80% peanut butter on one piece of bread, and then you put jelly on the other piece of bread, and then you put them together and make a sandwich.
That's 50-50. No, you don't do 50-50. It's got no peanut butter. Hey, you're a psychopath too. All of you. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Anyway, all right. But either way, we agree. It's on white bread, bruh. White bread. You don't put it on sourdough.
No. Texas toast.
Yeah, gross. Yeah, Texas toast. Anyway, all right. As always, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking us out. As always, continue to follow. We are posted on TikTok again. We getting there. Our TikToks are blowing up. I've had like 30,000 views this week on my 2 days of posting. Yeah, so
we're back,
and we're blowing up too. The couple of videos we did on YouTube are blowing up. Just listen to our podcast, listen to our shows, keep tuning in, tell your friends. We appreciate you all. And as always, Shooting Star is going to take over, but I am the dude of Wrestle Talk, Mr. MWO, and I'm with the man I just said.
I'm ShootingStarPRS. Be on the lookout. We got some changes coming up probably within the next week or so, so be 100%. On the lookout for that. We're on the TikTok at 2 Dudes with Attitudes, so go follow us there. Go subscribe, go like us, go follow us, go hit whatever you got to do on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast. Go rate us and review us. Subscribe on YouTube. I say it. I feel like I've been saying it now for the last 6 weeks, but we're almost at 5 subscribers on YouTube. So we need to get over the hump. We need to get over that hump. So help us out.
Always got to get over the hump. And as always, we're gonna make some shirts now too. And one of them is gonna be the scissors. We said that a long time ago. 2 Dudes with Attitudes.
Yeah.
Scissor me. Shooting ass.
Let's do it.
Wait, that didn't make sense. You're not shooting ass. I was trying to be daddy ass, but roll the music. Let's go.
Get out of here.
It's the 2 dudes with the attitudes. Let's go. On the Friday, you know what it is. Man, they came to handle biz. 2 dudes with attitudes, and they came to get it in.